O'clock I'll ask the
No, you speak
Chairman.
now, you start this.
No, I'll start, ma'am. Ma'am, sir, Deputy Speaker, sir, we oppose the Mines and Minerals Development and Regulation Act that has been brought. Mr. Premchandran has dealt in details with his objections. I have also a signatory to the statutory resolution disapproving the ordinance. I feel the government is actually playing with the process of legislation. First, a law was brought in 2011, then it was referred to the Standing Committee. Standing Committee submitted its report. At that time, the bill could not be passed because the Parliament was dissolved. Now this government introduced the bill, then without any necessity they passed an ordinance, and after the ordinance they have again come to this bill. I thought that this bill, which affects a large number of people in the country, should be taken more seriously. Sir, I shall point out just three things. These mines and minerals, they do not, there is an old act, 1957 Act, in which there are three schedules. In the first schedule, part 1 is coal and lignite. Part 2 is atomic bearing minerals. And part 3 deals with all the mines and minerals, asbestos, bauxite, chrome, copper ore, gold, iron ore, and then zinc, precious stones, manganese, etc. Now, in this current amendment, a new schedule has been brought, the fourth schedule, which has taken out some of the minerals into a different consideration. They have said bauxite, iron ore, limestone and manganese. Now, sir, I want to point out that mines and minerals are very sensitive areas. The member from Congress mentioned the Bellary.
That is
No scam. I am saying that exploration of mineral resources is a big public issue anywhere. As it happened in Karnataka, similarly it happened in the Niyamgari hills in Odisha. Similarly, mining, iron mining by Chogules and etc., it was top duty Supreme Court orders in Goa. That our mineral resources are in those areas where the people are poorest. They are mostly in forested areas, hilly areas, which are inhabited by tribals. And the tribals are poorest. So when we are going to exploit mineral resources, we have to remember the tribals. Sir, I was just looking at the Constitution. The tribal areas are called Schedule 5 areas. And most of these mineral resources are in Schedule 5 areas. And you cannot take land in Schedule 5 areas without the consent of the Gram Sabhas of the tribals. And lastly, one has to remember that the multinationals are out to exploit India's mineral wealth. And they are targeting these tribal areas, which is leading to conflict. The Maoist problem in Chhattisgarh, in parts of Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra and Odisha is due to the attempt by the multinationals to take their areas for mineral exploration. So when I look at this law, I do not look at it as a mere piece of legislation. I look at it from the point of view of the socio-economic impact on the life and cultural impact on the lives of these poorest people. The strange thing is that places which are minerally rich, the people are abysmally poor. And no exploration, no exploitation should be allowed which does not improve the condition of the people living in the mineral areas. This should prove the bedrock of all our policies on mineral exploration. Now let us see what the minister in this law is actually doing. There are some very dangerous elements. One I would like to mention, sir, is that there are what are known as captive mines. Who owns the captive mines? Particularly iron ore. Tatas own the captive mines. Now they are saying by this law that those who have captive mines, their lease will be extended to 2030, no? To 2030. And those who are merchant miners, their lease would be extended to 2020. Now you are saying that all new leases will be fixed by auction. Now, for Tatas, the big owners, their leases would continue without any auctioning till 2030. This is what the Odisha Chief Minister has protested against. He said, end the leases. From the day the law is passed, have a free auction. Nobody will object to that. So this is something we object to. The second thing they are saying, I have given an amendment, that hence all the leases fixed by auction will be for 50 years. It was always 30 years earlier. Suddenly, in order to entice multinationals into the auction process, they are saying, you get the auction, then your lease will be for 50 years. I totally oppose. No lease should be beyond 30 years as was previously in the law. There are some good points in the law. For instance, they have spoken of a district mineral board in order to look after the welfare of the people staying in the mining areas. The royalty, then it will be some work done. They have proposed another National Mineral Explorations Board, from which the royalty, from the royalty 2% will be given to this. Now, this is nothing new. Mineral exploration has been going on scientifically in this country for more than 100 years. You know of a geologist called Pramodnath Bose. He first discovered the land where the Tata factory, steel plant in Jamshedpur is situated today. He found that next to it were the best iron ore mines. Now we have the Mineral Exploration Corporation of India, public sector undertaking. We have the Indian Bureau of Mines, a government organization. We have got the Geological Survey, which has been doing mining and prospecting for more than 150 years. Now, it's not that no exploration has been done. You are suddenly saying that we are setting up a new investment board which will explore minerals. So, one has to keep in mind that suddenly opening up this whole sector to Indian and foreign multinationals, we have to take into account all the aspects, the economic aspect, the aspect of the tribals, and the aspect of ecology and environment, as was pointed out in the case of Niyamgiri. Lastly, sir, this law tends to make the punishment for illegal mining very strict. I fully support that. Whoever does illegal mining without the support of without the approval of the government is doing a wrong thing. But at the same time, the central government has actually not followed cooperative federalism in the matter of this law, which is why Mr. Naveen Patnaik is very angry. I'll end by quoting from Mr. Naveen Patnaik.
No, already he also,
Sir, just one
he already quoted the same.
Sir, let me quote. Let me say, he referred to proposed amendments to Section 30, which allows the centre to pass an order where no order has been made by the state within stipulated time period. Odisha, which accounts for 50 to 70% of the country's production of iron ore, bauxite and chrome, is not the only state wary of this introduction of this new clause. So,
okay.
I would like to point out to the minister that your law is a very complicated piece of law. Instead of putting an amendment law, you should have brought the law afresh,
okay,
so that you don't have to refer to the original law every time you want to find out.
Okay.
Please remove this law, bring a fresh law, and let it come before the parliament, a comprehensive one. Take care of the interests of the state, take care of the problem of exploitation of tribals and poor people. We'll all